Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
This is the Hey Ed YouTube channel, and I am your host, moderator, and all-around nice guy, Edward Anderson. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing that I mention in this video should be construed as investment advice. Always do your own research before doing anything. Okay, so in my thumbnail, I mentioned that the Federal Reserve has destroyed America. Now, for the sake of brevity, I just mentioned the Federal Reserve, but really it's the Federal Reserve and Congress. All right, so let's get into it and talk about what this means for you and the world and what you can do about it. Okay. Throughout history, there have been many civilizations that have taken turns being the world's superpower, right? You had ancient Greece, and then Rome, and then Constantinople, and then Amsterdam, and England, then America. Okay, so in every one of those cases, all empires or superpowers have failed for financial reasons. The finances have been the downfall of each of those empires. They all share a few other characteristics, but that's the main one. And it's an unnerving fact that every fiat currency that has ever existed has failed. Fiat currencies have a 100% failure rate. So this leads me to where we are at right now. Now, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency right now for decades. So prior to 1971, the US dollar was backed by gold. Okay, and so that put constraints on what Congress could do and what the Federal Reserve could do as far as increasing the supply of money out there. But then in 1971, we went off of the gold standard under Nixon. And since then, it's been party time. And they've been printing US dollars like crazy. Now, printing US dollars is what causes inflation. It's another unfun fact that since 1971, the US dollar has lost 98% of its buying power. 98%. Okay, now I'm going to get into a few facts here that are important for you to know because they explain what is going on here. Okay, there is value in scarcity, and we know this, right? That's why rare cars and rare paintings are valuable because of scarcity, right? Well, the US dollar is not scarce anymore. 40% of all US dollars in existence right now were created in the past 2 years alone, just 2 years. The M1 money supply just looks like a hockey stick, just going straight up over the past 2 years. And that's what's causing inflation. The fact that the Federal Reserve right now is so surprised that there's inflation is laughable. Okay, the Federal Reserve, through its money printing, has devalued the purchasing power of every US citizen, actually anyone in the world who uses US dollars. Okay, now there was an event that took place over the past 2 weeks. Saudi Arabia has announced that they are considering doing their oil purchases with the Chinese yuan. Now, this is earth-shaking, okay? Because, again, for decades now, the US dollar has been used for international purchases of oil. If you're a foreign country and you wanted to purchase oil from some country, you would first convert your local fiat currency into the US dollar and then use the US dollar to purchase the oil. Well, for the past several years, that's becoming less and less the case. Other countries are starting to move away from the US dollar. India has already done it. Mexico is starting to do it. Russia is really going to do it. They're getting really aggressive about it. And now Saudi Arabia, when Joe Biden called Saudi Arabia a couple of weeks ago, they literally did not pick up the phone. They didn't pick up the phone for the president of the United States. Ouch. Okay, man, talk about an insult. And then they announced that they're considering starting to do the oil purchases with the Chinese yuan instead of the US dollar. And trust me, if they announced it, they're going to do it. It's going to happen. China has stopped buying US Treasuries. The largest buyer of US Treasuries over the past couple of years has been the Federal Reserve itself. It's buying its own debt. I mean, what a con. They issue the treasuries and then they buy them back for themselves. I mean, what a joke. Who are they kidding? But what does this mean? Okay, so you have China now, they're not buying US treasuries anymore. You have petrodollars used for purchasing oil. They're starting to move away from the US dollar into other currencies. Now, another scary and very unfun fact is that 80% of all US dollars reside overseas. So as they stop using our dollars, those US dollars are going to start flooding back to America. We're going to see a tidal wave of US dollars coming back to us. Again, talking about scarcity, we are so far underwater with the dollars just slushing around out there in the economy that inflation has just started. Now, inflation is already at a 40-year high. Right now, the official inflation rate is 7.9%. We all know that's a joke. It's really closer to 15 to 20%. And anybody who does any kind of grocery shopping or filling up their gas tanks know this, all right? Inflation is not 7.9%, okay? But let's give them that. Let's call it 8%. That means the buying power of your dollars are going down by 8% a year. It's a guaranteed loss. Any money you have sitting in the bank or sitting in your pocket is a guaranteed loss. You're losing money on it. And this is going to accelerate with all these US dollars flooding back to America. It's going to make the US dollar even weaker, which means inflation is going to soar. It's going to get pretty ugly here pretty fast. And we can see things unravel in a very fast way. In my other videos, I talked about the fact that there are over 1.2 quadrillion of derivatives worldwide. And in case you forgot, derivatives, most in the form of CDOs, were the cause of the 2008-2009 financial crisis. And now we have more exposure to derivatives today than we did back then. You get, 1.2 quadrillion. New York banks have over $270 trillion just between the top 5 banks in America. Now, to put that in perspective, the entire GDP of America is only 20 trillion a year. And the banks have 270 trillion of exposure to these derivatives. Okay, one bad day, and you're going to see a major bank fail. And then the other major banks are going to fall right behind them. And what's going to happen is it's going to happen overnight. You're going to wake up. It's going to be sudden. It's going to happen fast. And that's why I think that in the next financial crisis, there are going to be bank runs. Meaning literally people are going to run to the bank to get their money out, and they're not going to be able to. The doors will either be locked, or they might let you in, but they'll only let you take out 10% of the money you have on deposit. That's another thing. Banks do not consider any money you have in the bank as your money. Legally, it's not your money. Legally, it's considered a loan. Did you know that? Okay, so your money sitting in the bank is not safe. And even if it is safe, the value of those dollars are going down rapidly, and they're going to be going down exponentially going forward. So what does this mean for you and for the world? Start looking for hyperinflation. Okay, big time hyperinflation. Your job could very much be at risk if you're lucky enough to have a job, right now. And throughout the world, you can see a lot of instability because America has been a stabilizing factor in the world for a long time. But with the value of the dollar being devalued so quickly and so severely, things have become very unstable. And now all fiat currencies around the world are all suffering. Okay, they're all going down in value. Inflation throughout the world is becoming rampant. It's not just in America. So yeah, our currency is going to go down, but believe it or not, we are still the strongest currency of all the other really bad currencies throughout the world. So we're going to see worldwide crises. We're going to see food shortages like haven't been seen since the Great Depression. And it's not because of Russia. Do not believe that lie. These issues have been growing here for the past year. Frankly, ever since Joe Biden came into office and he reversed his energy policy, right? Now we're paying more for everything, and it's not going to end. That's because ideology is getting in the way. But let's not get into that in this video. So what can you do? What are something you can do? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to reduce your exposure to the traditional financial system, meaning get your money out of your bank, at least some of it. All right. Start getting some cash on hand. Okay, so that's good. That's a good first start. But then you're sitting with a fistful of a depreciating asset. So what can you do then? Well, next thing you could do is take some of that money that you just pulled out of the bank and go out and buy some gold and silver. That'll stabilize the inflation effects of your money. Okay, but you do want to have some cash on hand, right? You don't want to put it all into gold and silver. You got to pay bills and stuff. Keep some money in the bank. Keep some money in cash, on hand, and then put some in gold. And then in order to really compensate for inflation, you got to find a high growth vehicle. Now, it just so happens that I'm in a program that gives me 3x. 3x, okay? That should handily take care of my inflation issues. And I'm not going to talk about that particular program in this video because I'm not allowed to for good reasons, but I can talk to you about that program individually. So if you want to contact me at my email address below, I will send you some information on that program. I've been in for a year. It's worked like a charm. And trust me, I've gotten a lot more out of it than 3x. But it is a 3x program. So get a hold of me and I can describe it to you. But you have to start taking measures now. To summarize why the Federal Reserve and Congress has destroyed America, they printed our money into oblivion. Okay, their policies, I don't know whether it's from incompetence or it's by design, okay? But because their solution is going to be this CBDC coin. That's a term you're all going to want to learn. CBDC. That's an acronym for central bank digital currency. It's their version of a digital currency, except it's going to be a very dishonest currency. It's going to be centralized rather than decentralized, which is what Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are. And they're going to be, and the CBDC is also known as the Fed coin, by the way. The Fed coin is going to be programmable, meaning they can tell you what you can spend your money on and what you can't. The Federal Reserve and our government does not like US dollars, literal, the physical US dollars, because they can't control what you spend it on, right? But if you have a digital currency, they can control what you can spend your money on. And that's the end game for those people. You want to start learning about blockchain. You want to start learning about cryptocurrencies. And you want to start learning about ways to get out of the traditional financial system. And I can help you with all of that. So get a hold of me and we'll set you up. If you know what you're doing, if you learn a few things, you can survive what's coming. And you can even prosper in it if you know what to do. And that's what I'm trying to do here in this channel, is to educate you without having to go too far into the tall grass. But I want you to know what's going on, and I want you to learn how to actually prosper in the face of it. You know that in every financial crisis, some clever people make fortunes on it because they know the game. I want you to know the game. Okay, so please share this video with anyone you can think of. Anyone you can think of, you should share this video. And I'm not just saying that to promote my channel. This is important, critical stuff. My vision here on this channel is to give you the tools to survive the upcoming events and to prosper in it. So let's do it together. If you haven't already, please subscribe and please give my video a like. I'm not a very big channel, so every like I get is more meaningful to me than on typical channels. So please give me a like. It helps the algorithm an awful lot. And I hope to see you as a subscriber, and hopefully I can talk some of you into this program that I'm in that is doing spectacularly well for everyone on my team. Okay, so I'll leave it there. Edward Anderson signing out.
Copy that.